Avast ye, me hearties, I hope you're all shipshape and Bristol fashion out there on the high seas of collecting.
Right, stop that! Silly!
Indeed, yes, and I apologise beforehand for any pirate-related puns that managed to slip their way into this review. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And I have to say, I am super excited about today's offering, as it's Mr. Go Figure's first ever foray into Hot Toys Artisan pieces. Yes, folks, it's the DX39, aka Johnny Depp, aka Captain Jack Sparrow, from Disney's 2015 swashbuckler Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Usual format, folks: box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end. But before we walk the plank, I would like to say a massive thank you to everyone who supported the channel, and a huge thank you as well to everyone who voted in the recent poll for what's going to be reviewed next. Sideshow's Beetlejuice took it by a nose, and it will be the next figure to be reviewed on the channel, but this little beauty docked early, and I just couldn't wait to get my Sea Dog hands all over it. As always, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the good stuff that's coming up on the channel. But that's enough of my ramblings. Let's get on to this box, and a very impressive box it is too, I have to say. Puts me in mind of the good old days of DX figures from Hot Toys. But we'll stop it from spinning and have a look around it, because they really have gone to town here on this piece. Say, first ever artisan piece in the collection. I was going to go for the Joker figure that they released recently, but I've got more Jokers than a comedy club open mic night, so I decided to hold out for this particular piece. And really well presented it is too. Big box, a lot going on here. Probably a lot of that's down to the diorama base, but what you've got on the front here is really nicely done. It's all done in this sort of old world map in these browns and gold colours, and it just looks really effective. On the front you've got the skull and crossbones, very nicely done, with all these tassels and bits and pieces going on. It says Disney, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. You've got Jack Sparrow in this gold foil lettering. DX39 Artisan Edition, deluxe version, stunning hair craftsmanship. Looking forward to seeing that. DX and Hot Toys at the bottom there, and the Hot Toys exclusive sticker at the top. Around the sides, all that's continued, says Pirates of the Caribbean, all that same information that you've got on the front, and a continuation of that map design. You've got this gold edging on it, which is really nice and catches the light brilliantly. It's one of these boxes where the whole thing slides out from one side, not dissimilar to a book in a cover case. On the side here, Jack Sparrow again, more designs on the side, Pirates of the Caribbean at the top. Around the back, the usual warnings and credits and so on. Don't piss this figure off, or it might bury all your rum. Normally we wouldn't do this in this kind of review, because it's a brand new figure, just come through the door literally and gone straight in front of the camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the turntable and put this turntable to one side and see if we can't actually get into this box on camera, because I think what we've got on the inside is just as impressive as on the outside. So what we will do is, if this box will cooperate on camera, is we will take the inner sleeve out. And it's vacuumed itself, so this is going to take a few seconds, bear with me. We'll put that box to one side. What you are greeted with when you open the box, and I'm going to get this back upright again so we can see it, is this foam inlay with a card cover. Really nice artwork on here. You've got a couple of shots of the figure in HD, really impressive. Pirates of the Caribbean, that brown and that gold colour scheme are continued as well. Down the bottom it says Jack Sparrow. There's a brief description of the character and the figure. Once you remove that, you are greeted with the figure itself. Now you've got not a dissimilar design to DX figures of old, as I mentioned before, but those design aesthetics continue as well on this inner box. On the side here, skull and crossbones, really nicely done. Jack Sparrow again on there. And then you've got this inlay card, which lifts off. It's folded in the middle, I believe. Yep, and it lifts off, and underneath it reveals the figure itself. This is some of the best packaging I've seen from Hot Toys in a long time, and it really makes an old man reminisce back to the good old DX days. You can see you've got the rooted hair head sculpt in there separately, the body, all the bits and pieces. So what we will do is what we always do. Let's get all the bits and pieces out of the box. Let's dive down onto the table and find out what this Jack Sparrow figure is all about. Okay folks, so accessories out, and there is a hell of a lot to go here. Hot Toys have included a boatload, forgive the pun, of accessories. Really firing a shot across in art's bows with this one. We will start with the hands as we always do. There are 5 pairs of hands in total, a total of 10, and we'll grab a couple at random to have a look at the sculpt here. Now, never have hands been more important on a figure, in my opinion. The character himself really does express himself through his hands. I will say from the get-go here, I have never owned the DX06 or the DX15, so I've got nothing to compare these to. So I'm a relative newbie to Jack Sparrow figures. But yeah, let's grab a couple at random. And you've got all manner of hands going on here. You've got splayed hands. You have sort of gripping hands, pointing hands. There's a couple of gripping hands on the figure itself that we'll take a look at when we bring the figure out. But yeah, let's just grab a couple at random and see what we're looking at here. Let's take this one. This one doesn't have any of the bindings on it. We'll get it up as close as we possibly can into the camera here. The sculpt looks on point. The paint applications look great, as always with Hot Toys hands. You've got vein work and bone structure underneath there. The paint applications are great with those skin tones, different veins going on. Maybe the creasing in the palms could be a touch better, but overall they are really well done. The fingernails are exceptionally well done, and you've even got those sort of white sections of the cuticle as well. Each hand has got the screen accurate rings on it. This left hand with the thumb ring there, really nicely sculpted in with gold and blue paint applications. The tattoos across the back of the hand, on the fingers, look really good and are really well done. Let's grab one of these bound hands now. These are really nice. These right hands, they've got this material across the top, this binding material, and once again the screen accuracy on that binding is absolutely on point from Hot Toys. Lesser companies would have sculpted that in. No, Hot Toys have gone for the real deal and the material here. Once again, you've got the tattoos across his fingers there with his name on it, sculpted in rings there. Now there is something that did crop up, and I have seen this now. In between the fingers here, you can possibly see that there are sort of, I wouldn't say strange lumps because they're barely noticeable to the untrained eye, but I have heard it said that these hands have been repurposed from a previous figure where he actually had bindings in between his fingers that were painted on, and so there is a possibility here that these are repurposed hands, but that doesn't bother me in the slightest. I don't think you can notice that on the figure unless you get microscopically close to it, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest if they've been repurposed, because they are very good indeed. Pointing finger hand here, once again with that thumb ring on it. Just really good level of sculpt, paint application and detail as we've come to expect from Hot Toys. So yeah, that's the hands. Let's pop those to one side. We'll get the mundane stuff out of the way. You get a set of instructions, as with all these figures, unopened as of yet because they've literally just come out of the box. I will be opening them because there's quite a lot going on with this figure. And around the back you get a couple of button cell batteries. Now I believe that is for this lantern accessory, but we'll take a look at that. So yep, that's your instructions. Let's have a quick look at the weapons. You get his cutlass, all one piece of sculpted plastic. This, no metal going on here. Not an awful lot of detail going on the scabbard. It's just sort of this brown colour with these brass studs painted on there, and open it up and you've got the cutlass itself. Nicely done this, even though, as I said, it is plastic. It maybe it'd been nice to see metal here, but as much as I like metal swords and it's great to see them, sometimes they can drag a figure down. when you pose it. So sometimes I think it's a better option to go with plastic, but the paint applications on this blade are really good to give it that metallic look. There is brown dry brushing on there to make it look weathered. The proportions are right, the sculpt is nice, and there is some detailing on the pommel there, sort of scratches, dinks and burrs done with paint effects, which give it that weathered look, and they're even underneath there as well if the light's catching that. So yeah, that's the cutlass, nicely done there. So we will pop that back in its scabbard and put it to one side. Let's crack on with the weapons. You get his dagger, once again sculpted plastic. The sheath itself is sculpted plastic, and if the light's catching that, it's got some weathering on there. There is some dry brushing on there to give it that weathered look, and the blade itself is really, really nicely done. The paint applications on here are really good in my opinion. This blade is suitably weathered with what looks like sort of a brown and black dark dry brushing effect. The pommel itself has been painted with a sort of brassy colour to give it that metallic look. Really nice. To all intents and purposes, from a distance, this looks metal. It does. So we'll pop that back in its sheath. Weapons, you get his 2 flintlocks. Now these aren't identical, slightly different. These slightly different in sculpt and in paint application. The lighter of the brown, the lighter of the two is slightly more detailed. There's some intricate detailing on the back of the gun there. The paint applications are on point. The wood effect is good. The weathering on the barrel, very similar to the bladed weapons, very good indeed, with those browns and those darker colours to give it that weathered look. And overall, yeah, just really nicely done. There's no cocking action here on either of these, even down to the detailing on the pommels here, it's identical, I believe. But yeah, you've even got the sort of faces sculpted into the bottom of the handles there. So yeah, that's the 2 flintlocks, and very nice they are too. Telescope, you get a telescope. This, once again, one piece of sculpted plastic, some really nice paint applications on here to give it that brass look, and then weathering on the top there, and just overall nicely done. And plastic ends there give it that glass look as well. So overall, yeah, I think the thing that's striking me here is just the level of paint applications on these accessories is very good indeed. So yeah, that's the telescope. We mentioned the lamp, the button cell battery lamp, and yeah, once again, all plastic, really nicely done, very, very well, nicely weathered. Even the sort of glass stroke plastic sections in the centre there have been weathered as well, to give it that brass look, and it really does come off as metallic. Plastic handle on there, painted to look like wood, and very well painted it is too. And underneath you've got the little button cell battery compartment with an on-off button. I am going to forgive Hot Toys on this one. Normally I would, you'd be scraping me off the ceiling at this point at the sight of button cell batteries. But I think they can be forgiven in accessories like this because there is no real alternative. I do get annoyed when it's the figure itself with light up features, or the base, where Hot Toys could have gone USB or another form of powering, but in this particular case I will let them off. They can be excused because there's really no alternative other than button cell for an accessory like this. So that's the lantern. You also get an array of other bits and pieces. You get the black pearl in a bottle, really nicely done, all plastic again, but does look like glass. The little ship inside there, very nicely painted. The bottle has been weathered to give it that old and used look, and just really, really nicely done. You can see the ship quite clearly here through the bottle. The top's really nicely painted as well, with a wax seal on there as well. So yeah, that's the black pearl in a bottle. What else? You get this chest. It's Dead Man's chest. Dead Man's chest after all, and Hot Toys have given us the chest, all one piece of plastic, nicely sculpted, got some weight to it this, and the detailing is really nice. If a little shiny, I would probably like to see this a little bit more matte, but that's just me. The sculpting is really nice, the paint applications once again giving that metallic effect, and it opens up this, so when you lift the top up it is full of gold coins, and they're just sculpted across the top there, but it looks really effective because There's some attempt at shading in there. There's some darker areas. There's some different shades of gold and slightly brass colour going on in there. And overall, yeah, it looks really, really good, and I think will work very well in the display. And solid as well. It doesn't feel like this thing's going to fall apart or break. It feels chunky and well made. So that's the chest. Some of these smaller accessories, we'll just quickly run through these. Now, these are tiny little pieces that you can add to the figure itself. I'm not sure whether I'll be doing that, to be honest with you, because these are so small they could get lost and fall off so easily. You get the shrunken monkey paw on a piece of string there, nicely done. You get a strand of hair. Once again, I'm assuming this is the same wool hair that they use in the head sculpt, on a piece of string too. You also get a shrunken head with wool hair on a piece of string. That's really nicely done, actually. If I can get this thing to face the camera, just a sculpt on there, and I'll try and get as close in as I can with this one, get the camera to focus. But yeah, it doesn't want to turn around, doesn't want to face the camera. But yeah, that's the shrunken head. You get this little sort of necklace thingy, and I am assuming it will tell you where to attach these in the instructions, but we will take a look at that between takes. A little bit of a gold nugget on the end there, and a little piece of bone going on as well. So there's that. You get his compass, or one piece of sculpted plastic on a string also. Very screen accurate with the shape there and the coloration. I would probably like to see a little bit more weathering on this, I think, because as memory serves me, it was a bit more battered. This looks a bit too new for me. But I think that's a minor niggle. It's got a functioning clasp on the front there. You open it up, and inside you are greeted with the full compass itself. Doesn't work, it's not a functioning compass, but yeah, really, really nicely done. Level of detail is excellent. As I say, the only thing I would probably gripe about a little bit is the weathering on that. You also get an array of tools. You get the little gizmo for moving the eyes. Obviously the head sculpt is the moving eyes system here, the purse system. Little screwdriver for your button cell batteries, and a little pair of tweezers for your button cell batteries as well, and probably for any tweaks you want to make on the outfit of the figure. So yeah, that's your little toolkit. You get his tricorn hat. Now, where would Jack be without his tricorn hat? Now, I believe that this is, now correct me in the comments section below if I'm wrong, I believe this is sculpted out of a soft plastic, or it could be leather. I suspect this is actually leather. I need to double check, but I know that the boots are leather, and some of the other bits and pieces actually of the outfit are leather. I'm going to chance my arm and say this is leather. It feels like leather, and I will check between takes, but I'm pretty certain it's leather, and it's really nicely done. It's the right shape, the colours are on point, it's been suitably weathered with these coats of brown paint on the top there. The brims of the tricorn hat have been sewn together on the inside there, and then it's been folded over and sewn there and there as well. And yeah, I think it's really great to see leather used, and a very, very good 6-scale tricorn hat there. So that's his hat. You also get a spare pair of wrist pegs, as always, great to see. Some replacement buttons for the buttons on the outfit. We all know these have a tendency to fly off, but a dab of crazy glue on the back of one of these spares and you can replace it. Let's take a look at, before we move on to the head sculpt, the crowning glory, let's take a look at this diorama base, and a chunky base it is too. We will take a look at the base section first. Now, what Hot Toys have done here is really, really nice, I must say. I'm suitably impressed with this. You've got this sort of clear plastic stroke acrylic water effect with this broken wood on top here. Underneath, nothing much to see here. There are no feet on here. It would have been perhaps nice to see some felt padded feet on the bottom so it doesn't slide around, but the weight of this thing, I mean, it's got some real heft to it. I don't think you're going to have any issues with this falling over or moving around in your display. But yeah, you've got this acrylic wave pattern going on with these white highlighted sections on the top to sort of pick out the waves. Then you've got this broken wood going on, and just very, very nicely done too. There's you can see bits of rope underneath there. There's green paint applications and barnacles going on here. Lots of different browns, shades of brown going on to give it that wood look. There is sculpted in rope around certain portions of the boards of the ship. Just really, really nicely done. And overall, very, very nice piece of work here. On the front, you've got this metal nameplate. It says Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, Jack Sparrow. I just like how that's positioned, sort of on the wave itself. Super reflective, looks very, very professional and impactful. Overall, yeah, I think they've done a fantastic job here with this with this base. Second part of this diorama base is the wheel of the ship itself. Now I'm going to have to move this out of the way because this is huge. This is a massive piece, and whether we're going to get this all in shot or not, I am not sure, but we'll try our best. So yeah, you get the wheel of the ship itself. This has got some real weight to it. It is not wood, it's plastic, but the paint applications on here, you would be forgiven for thinking it is wood, down to the sheer weight. But yeah, the sculpting is absolutely on point here. I think it's weathered. The paint applications are absolutely phenomenal to give it that old wood and wet look as well. So it's got this sort of wet coating to it in certain areas, which just make it that much more convincing. And it's almost like it's been varnished, and then the varnish is peeling off because of the salt water. Flip this thing round, and you can see the other side, pretty much the same story there. Really impressive and solid piece. It rotates, which is great to see, and it also has this cord on the inside here, which is tied around the rotating centerpiece, and they've even weathered that cord as well to give it that old and dirty look. Not missed a trick here. Hot Toys on this diorama base, you can really go to town with the posing on this one. This piece itself actually slots. Now I need to get this the right way around. I think it's with cord facing in, and there are two grooves across the top of your base section, and this thing simply sits in there. Now if I can get this to go in. Now I've got to say, and this is not the most secure of solutions, shall we say. If you can see this, if the camera's actually catching this, it simply rests in the grooves and it's held in by friction. Now, unfortunately, the angle that this thing's at, it's not the most secure in the world. I've got to say, there's a lot of give there, and I think once you've got the figure posed holding it, you might have some issues here. Perhaps not the best solution there from Hot Toys. Could have come up with something a little bit better. Maybe some slightly narrower slots there, where you could actually place the wheel in and then slot it into place, and it would grip it, and then you could slot it back out again. Going in either direction might have been an option. But overall, yeah, it looks very, very good. If perhaps not the most secure I have ever seen, but we can't get all of this in shot, but hang fire for the showcase at the end and you will see it in all its glory. So yeah, that's the diorama base. Comes with a flight pole. Comes with a normal pole. Well, I say a normal pole. This is not the standard issue Hot Toys one. This is actually metal. Great to see that they've used metal here, and it's screw-in rather than push-in. There is a hole at the back of this section of the base. You simply pop that in there, screw it in, and you have a crotch cup as well to go with it. I do like these on my figures. Very rarely receive them with Hot Toys. I think the last time I saw one was I think it was the Thanos, Battle Damage Thanos. But a lot of the time I prefer these to the felt line waist grabbers. I think those can damage an outfit, and particularly with the outfit that Jack Sparrow wears. You don't want to risk any damage to that. So I think good choice here to go for this crotch cup, which simply slots over the top of the pole itself there, and you can adjust it with the screw that's on the side. So yeah, that's the diorama base. Let's pop that to one side. And the moment we've all been waiting for, the head sculpt. Now there's just the one head sculpt, but it's got a interchangeable faceplate here. I do like the way that Hot Toys have packaged this this head sculpt, and we will get it out on camera. If I now, I am new to this, so bear with me if I am unsure of how this thing actually comes out of the container. Is it just, there we go, yeah, got it. I think you just give it a good pull like that, and I like the packaging that they've done with this this head sculpt here. It just looks really good, and we'll take that off, and I'm not going to take it off the off this stand, because I think this is probably the best way to view it on camera. Where to begin on this head sculpt? Wow, absolutely wow, straight away. I'm a little bit lost for words here. This is amazing. This is the first time I have seen this head sculpt close up and in hand, and I've got to say I am suitably impressed. Where to begin? This hair. Let's start with this hair. Now, wool, I believe. The dreads are really well done, with a variety of different colours. You've got these metal pieces, and they are metal in the hair itself. If I can get the camera to focus on these, the ends of the locks themselves. There is then different coloured twine around the locks. You move up, and then you've got this mixture of artificial hair and then the wool locks themselves, which is coming out from underneath the bandana and going around the locks. There are rings and all manner of beads and so on going on in there. Let's move around to this side. There's just so much to see here. All these different attachments in the hair itself. We'll move around the back. You've got this bandana. Now, I believe the bandana on the previous versions of this was actually a sculpted plastic one. They've gone for real material here with a pattern in it, and I think it looks great. The main dread down the back here has got crosses in it, and there are sort of strings of different colours, beads and chains going on. Even if you actually lift that bandana up, and you're spotting stuff constantly, well, at least I am here. The little skull at the back there, which is barely visible. The quality of these, it's hard to describe. It's not dissimilar to pipe cleaners. There's some give in there, there's some bend, but overall I think the multiple colours, as well as if the camera's catching, the light's catching this, you've got all different shades of dreads here. They're not all one standard shade here, so I think they have done an absolutely cracking job here, Hot Toys. The two little braids on his chin are plastic and sculpted in, so I would say exercise caution there. They look like if they were stretched or stressed too far, that they might snap off. So yeah, look out for that. But now the head sculpt itself, the face. Once again, I am struggling for words here. I'm going to hazard it. I'm going to stick my neck out a little bit here and say, I think this is possibly one of the best head sculpts I have ever seen from Hot Toys. I think it is that good. It is frighteningly good. The skin tones, the sculpt of this chin beard and moustache and goatee, the paint applications on that face there. If you get right in there, you can see the detailing and the tonal changes in the skin and the imperfections. The eyes, phenomenal, absolutely amazing, super glassy, the right colour, that shading under the eyes is right, even down to that little cross scar stroke cut on the cheek there, just stunning, absolutely stunning. Now, I believe, and as you can tell, I have literally just got this out of the box, so I'm going to take this head sculpt off here, exercising the utmost caution, and I believe if you actually access the back of this head now, it's not wanting to come off here, and I don't want to damage it, so I'm going to yeah, I might have to do this off camera. Yeah, we'll do that off camera, and we'll take a look at the interchangeable head sculpts when we bring the figure out. So yeah, this is the second faceplate, which lifts off. It's magnetically attached. Both faceplates have the purse system, so you just get that little tool in there and muck about with it and move the eyes around. I've got a distinct feeling here that once these eyes are altered, that will really really bring this figure to life. Looking off at an angle or looking down are really going to set this figure off. But yeah, simply you slot that the main faceplate off. It's magnetically attached at the top here. Slot this one in, and we'll take a look at this one. Try not to knock the camera while we're here. And once again, same level of paint application and sculpt here. There's a little scar across the eye. I think that's probably present on the other one, but yeah, it's hidden under the bandana there. The only thing, and I noticed this straight away just before we started shooting this, is there is a slight imperfection in the beard here. Now, I don't know whether the light's catching this. Now, whether that's a sculpting imperfection or a painting imperfection, it looks more like paint, but it looks, you see that little brown circle there, it looks like this, it's not been sculpted and painted correctly. So a little flaw there. Not a huge problem. I can touch that up, and it will be barely noticeable, but yeah, maybe a small imperfection, but an imperfection nonetheless. I am not sure which one of these two faces I prefer. I think I probably prefer the smiling one, because it's more in keeping with the shall we say, the cheeky character of Jack Sparrow himself. But yeah, so there you have it, folks. That's their head sculpts. So without further ado, let's bring out the man himself. Let's get one of those head sculpts on him. Let's get him onto that diorama stand, onto the turntable, and have a close-up look at him. Okay, folks, so here he is. It's Captain Jack Sparrow himself, out of the box, almost fully complete, onto the stand, onto the turntable. First impressions, amazing. I've got to say, straight from the get-go, I am stunned by this piece. I think it's fair to say, from a personal perspective anyway, I think this is possibly some of Hot Toys' greatest work yet, and that is going some, considering the years they've been in the business and some of the amazing pieces that they've produced. But we will stop him from spinning and take a close-up look, as we always do. I'll have a brief look around this guy, otherwise this review could go on for a year. So yeah, let's stop him from spinning. I haven't included the wheel on this diorama base for this section, simply because I think it blocks out too much of the figure. I think this figure is so spectacular and so amazing to look at that hiding in behind this wheel would be a real shame. We'll see more of this wheel in the showcase at the end, but yeah, let's get him off this stand and have a close-up look. I haven't attached any of the of those little sort of dangly bits, for want of a better expression, either, simply because they're very delicate and there's a lot going on here. I think if you put all the guns on, the dagger on, all the other attachments as well, it can look a little bit too busy at the front there. So I've just left it as the sword in the sheath and one of the flintlock pistols, and that works for me just fine. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. We'll start with these rather nice leather boots. Now these are leather. In between takes I did do some checking. A couple of the belts are leather. It's described by Hot Toys as a leather-like material, this hat. So what that means, I'm not 100% certain. Possibly pleather. Yeah, but a couple of the belts are leather and these boots are leather, and these boots are really nice. They feel fantastic. They look great. Perhaps could do with a tad of dirtying up, but that's probably me nitpicking. Pegged directly into the legs themselves. They look great. They really do. The stitch work is fantastic. The quality of the leather feels really nice, and there's plenty of movement in there as well. Yeah, posing is not going to be an issue, and the articulation in this figure is what we've come to expect from Hot Toys. You've got ratcheted knees. And the hat does fall off a lot, and there it goes again. We'll take it off for the time being. The articulation in the waist section is pretty good, but I mean, he is hindered a little bit by all those belts and all those bits and pieces going on. Yeah, really nice solid ratchets on the knees there. Plenty of movement in the legs, as we've come to expect from sort of the standard Hot Toys body. Butterfly joints at the shoulders. Ratchets at the well, not ratchets, but the standard Hot Toy elbow movement there. So you can get a really good range of motion out these arms. They'll go all the way up to his face. The legs themselves will extend out back to about beyond 45 degrees, right up to the back on that ratchet. So yeah, Yeah, the boots, these beautiful leather flaps that fold down over the top of the boots that have got this weathering on them, on the fold over section. Stitch work, great. Multiple layers on this particular figure, and the outfit is really, really nice. Made mainly cotton materials. This sort of sash thing that falls down across the front here that's been weathered. And once again, the attention to the weathering detail is great here, with the weathering in the individual pieces of the outfit. Yeah, nice quality, what feels like cotton here. This coat is wired all the way around the bottom, so I am gonna have hours of fun posing this. You can have it blowing off in the wind, you can have it flat to the body. Really, limited only by your own imagination, this coat. And it is beautifully stitched and made, down to these sort of creases in the back here, the sewn on buttons. And these buttons, if I can get these close enough in, these buttons have actually been weathered as well. And they are tiny, but the attention to detail, as I say, excellent. Stitch work along those sections down the back of the coat where that flap is are great. The fit and the fall of the coat is phenomenal. The stitch work on and buttons around the pocket area. Everywhere you look on this figure, there is such amazing attention to detail, and something catches your eye. Really, really well done. These pleats. Now, it sounds ridiculous, I know, but seeing these pleats done this accurately and the way they fall, just it gives me great pleasure as a 6-scale figure collector. Underneath here, you've got the sort of the sleeveless coat thing going on, which is a man-made material with this lovely sort of dull gold pattern in it. Screen accuracy is 100% there. Underneath that, you've got the sort of the cream high-collared shirt, which once again screen accurate. It's got a slightly rougher weave to it. Screen accurate again. You're going to get sick of me saying that. The buttons on there have been weathered. They've got that brass look to them. We'll take this flintlock out so you can see the detailing on the belt here. I'll try and get this as close into camera as possible. I think it's these two belts underneath here which are leather. I believe this one, this shoulder strap section, is actually pleather. But the detailing on the buckles here, if the camera will focus on this, and I think they're sculpted plastic, but they really are beautifully sculpted and really well painted, as is this larger buckle on this thicker belt underneath. And if I lift his arm up in, you can see the level of detailing underneath here is just phenomenal. The material on the back section of this this sort of undercoat, this sleeveless undercoat, really, really nice material there. Man-made fibre with a lovely stripe in it. The pants, they fall really well. A little bit of leg showing there, even down to the. You can get this in shot as well. They've even put the gold buttons in on the splits on the bottom of these three-quarter pants. There's a buckle around the back there. Just the detailing all over this is, as I say, absolutely spectacular. The sculpt work on this, what's meant to be, what I think is meant to be an alligator skin belt, this thick one. Obviously, I think this is plastic. This one, or it feels like a soft plastic. But the paint applications to give it that crocodile skin effect are excellent, and just the fit, the fall, the finish, everything absolutely nailed on. I cannot find one thing on here that strikes me as being inaccurate, as being screen accurate, or less than exceptionally well made. We've talked about that head sculpt and those braids, but actually while we're on the head sculpt as well, but I've left the more neutral head sculpt on this on for this particular section, simply because I tried it with this one, and this one is very good, but for me, I think this one works better. It's just something about that stern look. I like the cheeky smile, and I think it's perfectly in character, but I think when it's on, this one works ever so slightly better for me. But it's personal taste, it really is. And on the head sculpts as well, in between takes, did a little bit of checking, because I noticed that mark that I mentioned, if you can see that there on the chin, is present on this one as well. And I thought, well, hang on, having two errors, two QC issues on two of the faceplates on the same figure is highly unlikely. So I went back and checked. My bad, folks. What we've got here is that is actually screen accurate. That circular mark in the chin beard line there is actually accurate, and it was something that I believe, if the internet is to believe, that Johnny Depp put there on purpose to sort of indicate that there may be a possibility that Captain Jack Sparrow had syphilis. If that's to be believed, I don't know, but because it's on both, and because I found that, I personally think now that's been done deliberately. So yeah, apologies for that one, folks. But yeah, moving swiftly on, everything on point. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. This undershirt here, the stitch work. There's a separate undershirt. I'm not going to take this coat off at this point, but the separate that's the undershirt which runs underneath this sort of long sleeveless jacket that he has underneath the coat, even down to little bits of there's this fur wrapped around the one of the belts here, which is completely on point as well. So yeah, there you have it, folks. That is Captain Jack Sparrow. The hat. Now, I've heard that the hat is slightly oversized, and it doesn't fit the best. Let's be honest. It needs to be slightly oversized simply because it's got to fit over that bandana. But I don't think it looks out of proportion. Some people are saying it's but it works fine for me. Oh, it's not the most secure, but it's never going to be the most secure because it's free floating and it's sat on top of that bandana. And what I forgot to mention when we were taking an up close with the head sculpt was the details on top here and the solidness of the braids as they are on the top here. These are all obviously secured to the head sculpt itself. And you've got this little piece of bone work on the string there which is hanging down, and you've got this little bit of sculpted braid work almost which is falling forward over the bandana, or yet again completely screen accurate. So we will put the tricorn back on him before this turns into a gush fest. So I'm going to pop him back on this stand and go in for final thoughts on this guy, and without knocking any of these bits and pieces off. Oh, right, where to begin on this one? I'm going to keep it brief because I think it sort of speaks for itself. Let's get him spinning again and have the final thoughts, the score and the verdict before we go over to the showcase. I've got to say, I'm amazed at this piece. I really am. I think it's some of Hot Toys' best work, if not their best work to date. It is one of those figures, and I know it's a cliche, that you have to have it in hand to fully appreciate it. And I think the head sculpt in particular, I think, is possibly some of their best work as well. I am stunned. I really, really am. I think as a response to the bar being raised by InArt, Hot Toys have actually stepped up to the challenge, and I hope that we see a lot more of these artisan pieces. I think it's amazing. It is literally one of those 6-scale figures that you think is going to get up and walk away. It is that good. So, a score out of 10. I can't find anything wrong with this figure. Now, regulars to the channel will know, if I can't find anything wrong with the figure, it's got to be a 10. And I'm going to have to give this a 10. I have yet to find anything wrong with it. There is nothing on here. Maybe this second head faceplate's not quite as good as the first, but that's down to personal taste. That isn't a mistake, an error, or anything that Hot Toys have done wrong. So yeah, from that wonderful diorama base, which could be slightly better with the fitment for this this wheel, but the base itself absolutely on point. The accessories are superb, amazingly sculpted, amazingly painted. The tailoring, phenomenal. Head sculpt's amazing. Screen accuracy, just in spades. So yeah, it's a 10. It's a 10 for Jack Sparrow. So there you have it, folks. I hope this review has been useful for you, and I make no apologies for how long it's been. I think a figure of this complexity and this quality needs that kind of time. What have we got coming up on the channel? Well, there's plenty more from Hot Toys, there's plenty from InArt, from Pure Arts, from Susu Toys, Present Toys, Org Toys, Caustic Plastic. The list is endless of stuff coming up on the channel. So as I mentioned at the top there, please mash that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing anything. And I suppose all it remains for me to say is a massive thank you for watching. As always, take care of yourselves, and from Jack Sparrow and myself, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.